All right, everyone. Thank you again for joining us for another BFT Tech video. We really appreciate it. Today, we're actually going to be going over our sub-hydraulic operator. These, of course, are mounted below the ground or below the surface. They're sub-mounted operators. And again, remember I mentioned this is our high voltage hydraulic operator. So we definitely recommend positive stops. So when it's running in the closed position, it butts up against a positive stop and builds pressure and closes tight. Same thing for the open. When it's running open, it pushes up against something and runs tight. That's important also for cold areas. Let's say you turn on block persist, which is a function our Rigel 6 board has. Stay tuned for a video coming up soon for that one. You'll notice that every hour, block persist will run the motor. If it's in the open, it'll run it. If it's in the closed, it'll run it. So, or if you have the built-in heater, it's going to run a little bit of voltage through these motors. So you want it to be stopped up against something, whether it's in the open or closed. All right. These operators are actually good for 1,700 pounds, from 6 to 12 feet. So depending on the leaf length is the model of sub you'd want to choose. For this demo purpose, of course, we are going to go over the sub R. There is foundation boxes that comes with it, so check. There should be a link up here for you to check out the foundation boxes. If you choose to use those foundation boxes, it is an extra accessory, or you can actually just use the sub how it comes. It comes with everything ready for you to be able to install it. Of course, if you notice here, it comes with the cover on top, right, to close off your box. You have your cap that you can remove to get to the manual release. And this is another reason why it's important to know if you have your left or your right hand, so your manual release is actually inside the property and not outside of the property. It comes with your extended triangle key. This guy right here is important, so don't lose this. And then when you're looking, you actually have your the tin foundation that comes built around to be able to hold your cap. You would have your foundation poured already, your cement foundation poured ready to go with proper drainage. I'll talk about that a little bit later. It's more or less just like a leach field or a little gravel pit for you to have like a 2 to 4 inch tube draining off to, just to try to keep this thing as dry as possible. So again, you have, this is where your cap will go to. Oh, and it had a little piece there on top that's kind of more for aesthetics. It just kind of seals the top cap off as well. All right, another piece that comes with it. All right, so you have your foundation poured, you have your drainage set, you have everything the way you need. If you notice, your kit also comes with these little grub screws and tabs, right? So these are the tabs you would weld to the metal plate. So you would, on the foundation box that you created or the foundation cement that you poured, you would have like a metal plate bolted into the ground there, so you'll be able to weld a little later. And then of course you'd use these grub screws here to basically screw into these holes to be able to level it and raise it up a little bit, lower it a little bit. And once you get the proper size that you would need, then of course this tab would weld to your metal plate and then weld to the bracket on the bottom of the sub. All right, so that is if you choose to use everything it comes with. Again, make sure you have drainage for this thing. And now let me go over what you're looking at here a little bit, just so we kind of know what this is. So of course it comes already with, installed cable. This is winter rated. And I would recommend going anywhere from 14 to 16 gauge cable, depending on the distance. If you're going a little further, I would, recommend going 14, but 16 gauge for the most part is good enough for this. When you look over here, you'll see this is your oil return. Be very careful with this oil return. We try our best to package it nicely so it doesn't get damaged in shipping, but moving from the warehouse to the job site and all that, be very careful not to mess up this tube. Of course, when you're looking around, you'll see back here, there's these bleeder valves, right? You don't need to touch these. I'll tell you later how to actually bleed it out or let the air out if needed. So no need to touch the bleeder valves, leave them alone. And then we'll keep looking around here. This is if you ever need to refill or drain. This is your hole here to refill or drain the subs. Over here, this is your close and open pressure valves, all right? I do not recommend going further out. So this is already maxed further out. And if you need a little bit more pressure, the only thing I recommend is 1 full turn. Do not turn it more than 1 full turn in the clockwise position. All right. So that is your pressure valves. This guy right here is where you saw the triangle key. This is your manual release valve. All right, so this manual release is good to turn counterclockwise to allow the motor to swing freely. And then of course, tighten it, snug. You're not trying to be He-Man here, just snug close, and that should, keep the gate engaged and allow it to work. Also, another thing you can use the manual release for is if you do have air in the system, you would run the gate, fully closed. Once it closed and the motor stopped running, you'd open the valve, close the valve, run it in the open position. Once it stops running, open the valve, close the valve, and that would be a way to basically bleed the system if you notice the system has air in it. So we went over this. This is your electric motor is inside of here. Of course, this is the side where your pump is housed, and then these are your open and closed cylinders to basically run the gate in either direction. Again, I mentioned earlier that we are going over the sub R, and the reason the sub R is one of my favorite sub operators is because of these two valves right here. I believe they're about a 3mm valve Allen key that you can stick in there to open and close. When they are turned counterclockwise all the way and they stop, that is no slowdown whatsoever. And when you actually start turning them down or turning them in, that is where your slowdown starts to come in play. So at first, do all your operation. No need to touch these. This is your close slowdown. And then of course, when you come over here, this is your open slowdown. It's built into the operator because hydraulic motors don't really like electric slowdowns to give them less voltage because they don't run right. So basically the slowdowns are built into the operators. That's a cool little neat function it has. So we went over all your valves. All right, so we've actually come to probably the most important part of this video, and that is indexing. If you notice with our newer motors, I believe Italy's finally was kind enough to start giving us a little black marker tab of showing us, where the gate should be. But let's say for whatever reason, this little black tab is not there, this little black mark is not there, and you need to actually do the good old-fashioned indexing. Again, important to remember, if you got the SX or the DX, this little piece is very good stuff. All right, so you'll notice you have GSX, M, and GDX, right? And then over here, you notice you have a little hash. And we have an SX, okay? So first thing you have to do is run your motor all the way in the closed position, which we already did. So the motor has run all the way closed and it stopped running because it bottomed out. After it bottomed out, you will place this little cardboard tab thing over it and match the M with the hash, right? Once you've matched the M with the hash, you will activate your operator and you'll notice it'll move. And when it gets to the, stop it. I went a little over, but I think you get the idea, right? So you basically move this and you stop where it says the GSX tab with the hash on the bottom. Now, this motor is properly indexed and now your gate should be welded right here. The bottom, the hub that comes with the operator, this is what will weld to the bottom of your gate, right? And that goes sliding on the tub. So now you know it's perfectly indexed and this is closed, open, and closed, right? So that little indexing is a very important feature. Now, here's the other part of the video I wanted to get to is because not every gate is perfectly aligned, not everything is beautiful, not everything is right where it needs to be. So let's say it's not, your gate is not plumb or it's a little bit offset and you can't really just get it perfect. We do sell this bracket or this extension arm that basically it comes with these two pieces, right? This side right here will get welded to your hub and then put over, of course, after your indexing is done, so you know this is the closed position. And then this part right over here gets welded just like this to the bottom of your gate, right? So this is welded to the bottom of your gate. This is put on top here, and this will help you, if you need to open a gate in a different position, it kind of just helps out with that offset. So this is a cool little accessory you can add to it. I hope you're able to see that okay, but for the most part, that is the sub operator. We're gonna do a couple videos over the Rigel 6. If you have any more questions, please let us know. I'm more than happy to help. Please subscribe and hit that like button. Thank you.